Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Amazon exclusive Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise Ramjet and Dirge, alternatively known as the Seeker Elite Team.
Hi.
Hi, we have a little guest star yet again. Become quite fond of doing these with me. So this 2-pack is part of a matching pair along with the Prowl and Ironhide 2-pack. And just like last year's Amazon exclusives, these two sets have boxes that are meant to be placed together to give you a full picture.
Yep.
Oddly, the Autobot 2-pack that goes with this isn't going to be released until November, at least according to Amazon's estimated ship date. So it's really weird that they're releasing them so far apart when they're supposed to be kind of a matching set, like a diorama. Don't know why they went that route. Maybe there was a delay, COVID is messing all the things up, so very possible. So, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this is going to go. We're going to take a look at the packaging, then we'll open it up. We'll see the instructions, the map piece, which is hopefully pre-cut, so I don't have to cut it out, because that's annoying. And then we'll see Ramjet and Dirge themselves in both their vehicle and robot modes. I'll be doing some comparisons and group shots with the Classics Ramjet toy, as well as the other Earthrise Seekers, so you can see all the different molding differences between them. And then, of course, at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So the box is obviously special edition packaging. Got this really nice illustration of Ramjet and Dirge on the front. Now, this is kind of odd. It kind of comes down to a question of how accurate is two-toy accurate. Because you can see they have like the gaping holes here where their chest cavities are on the actual toy. So that looks really silly. They don't look like real planes at all. But it is what it is. It's still nice artwork. You can see there's some sort of a forest fire. This appears to be on Earth because there's the crashed Ark. Little Easter egg cameo from Thrust, who's set to be released sometime later. Allegedly is a Target exclusive. Can't confirm that yet though. And normally, this part of the picture kind of gets cut out and replaced with the part that has Ironhide and Prowl on it whenever they come out. Normal Earthrise side panel. And then on the back here are the renders. You can see Ramjet and Dirge. There's their team name, Seeker Elite. They both take 23 steps to transform because they're mostly the same mold. And one thing that's worth pointing out is here on the renders, their cockpits are done in just like a straight clear color, like a real cockpit would be. The toys themselves actually have the translucent orange cockpits like the rest of the Seekers. And I know some people were disappointed by that because it is less realistic, but at the same time it does help them match the Seekers more. So
I love my dad.
Thanks, man. So, it's kind of a toss-up. I don't feel very strongly about it either way. I would take either. All right, now let's open this thing up.
Yay!
Okay, here is the map piece, and luckily, it's pre-cut. Interestingly, though, unlike other pre-cut map pieces, hi, bud, it's made from a thicker cardboard, not the paper-like material. So, very little consistency between these pieces. You want to show off the thing? You gotta put it here so they can see it, buddy. Okay.
I see one. I saw one.
You saw one, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so nothing exciting on this map piece, unfortunately, which is unusual for one of the larger pieces. It's a piece of a planet there, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah. Okay, here are the instructions. You see, pretty good sized book with renders of Dirge and Ramjet on the front. Hi. Oddly enough, wielding their null rays in their hands, which, I mean, sure, you can, but we don't do that here. Alright, so on the front here, you have the transformation for... That's Dirge. Hard to tell in black and white. Yeah. Dirge's transformation from robot to jet. And then on the back, you get Ramjet's transformation. And here shows you where to attach the null rays, in the right place. And then just a little demonstration of how to use the decoder on the map piece. Now, here are our guys in their vehicle modes. You got Ramjet on the left, Dirge on the right.
Dirge.
Yeah, Dirge. It's a cool name, right? And these two take the forms of very heavily modified F-15 fighters, or, an approximation of. And that's true to the original toys, where they took the original Seeker toy, which was based on an F-15, and then modified it heavily to make each one of the 3 new Seekers, which made them more, fantastical looking, but at least they were more unique. So you can see Ramjet, he's pretty much characterized by having these big old turban things right here, then having wings that just sweep all the way back and then out a little bit.
This guy have them too.
Oh yeah. Very heavily painted on the wings. Unfortunately, some paint spatter on here, which, boy, 2020 is not my year for the paint spatter. Hey, got some white paint details here. This is all painted black. See, he's got some nice gold accents, some red here. Now, one thing.
It's one there.
Okay, hang on, bud. One thing you'll notice is that the guns, which become the null rays, they're the same kind that the 3 standard Seekers come with, which is unlike most of the Ramjet and Dirge toys, who all had their own unique null rays. But it does make them more cartoon accurate, because in the cartoon they did just share the same ones with Starscream and his posse. Here's Dirge, who's got an even weirder looking setup, where he's got kind of standard wings that are offset toward the back, and then he's got these little extra side wings. No, they don't open, buddy.
Why?
They just don't. These are also painted, and they look really nice. This matte tan color is really neat. Unfortunately, it's prone to scratching. You can see some paint scratched off here on the backs of the wings, and that just came like that out of the box. His knees are even more decoratively painted. A lot more of that black paint, that gold, and overall just looks really nice. Hang on, bud. Yeah, you see it? All right, you can see he's got Decepticon symbols on the undersides of his wings, as well as the top.
This guy have these too.
Yeah. Ramjet is a little different. He's got 1 on the top of his wings and then 2 on the bottom.
Can't this one open?
So.
Can't this one
No, they don't open, bud.
Mm.
They just don't. Now, you can see that their knee pieces are newly molded. They're much longer than the standard ones. And what that does is it causes them to go over the little skirt flap thing instead of underneath it like the regular Seekers. Now, that means that they kind of rest on those and might wobble a bit because they're kind of rounded.
There's one there.
Oh yeah, there's a symbol there.
No, there's a blue there.
Okay, here is our new Ramjet with the Classics Ramjet, which was the last G1 Ramjet toy to be released, unless I'm mistaken. And you can see their overall shape is the same. They're both, taking the same cues from the original toy.
Can this one open?
No, it doesn't. You already asked me that. There are some differences. For one, on the Classics, his little tail fins point straight up instead of curving inward. The nose cone is significantly shorter on this, almost comically so. And the reason for that is because the nose cone is actually the head, because, he's a cone head. The new versions use fake cone heads that are inside the actual plane's nose cone. And some people like that, some people don't. The trade-off is that you end up with a smaller head for the new version, but a really ridiculously short nose cone for the old version. So it's up to you. Plus, the old version, you got his face just sticking out on the underside, so it looks kind of silly.
That's what guns look like.
Yeah, that's what the guns look like. Here's the original style Ramjet null rays, in case you're wondering, much thicker. And each one of the Conehead Seekers had their own unique null rays. So yeah, that's how they compare. And aside from some small shape differences and tweaks in the coloring, you can tell that these are definitely meant to be the same character. Okay, now here's our obligatory shot of all of the currently available Seekers. So of course you have Thundercracker, Starscream, and Skywarp. And those are, what would be considered the original Seekers, or the standard ones, your non-cone heads. And I just wanted to kind of get you the shot to highlight the big differences in their molding. You can see these guys look very much like real-life fighter jets. There's Little Dude. Whereas, our new recruits here, they're very sci-fi. They definitely look like something that could only be in a children's toy line. So this does look really cool. You're kind of building your own little squadron of Seekers now. It's really cool if you want to go ahead and throw the Tetrajets in there as well. Just go really nuts. But unfortunately, I'm a little short on surface space, so I can't do that shot for you today. let me show you the underside of these guys again. So these are the original knees for the normal Seekers. You notice how they can go underneath. These are the new ones. So very different pieces. The whole panel is different. That's the old one.
I mean, this is the new ones.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, all right, we've seen the jet modes, we've compared them. It's time to transform. All right, so we're gonna start with Ramjet. So the first thing I wanna do, go ahead, remove the null rays, set them aside, like so. Flip the little knee panel thing, just kind of out for now, come out of the way. And then you wanna pull this whole back section down to extend the legs. And you close these kneecaps up, making sure that these little notches go here. Separate the feet. Fan them out. What you gotta do. Now for his little wing bits here, you're just gonna swing everything up. Just like that. Now we're gonna go ahead, open up the little chest cavity area, like so. Swing the shoulder panels out. Let's bring his arms up. Now you're gonna take the cockpit and the nose cone, bring them down, get it like that. Now you wanna fold this back up and you wanna make sure that these panels tab in correctly to the chest. So just make sure it's all nicely lined up. If it is, it should close without much resistance, like so. You gotta extend the arms out. Yep. And come on. That. Oh, we got a special guest, Repugnus. What's up, man?
I found my transformer here.
Cool. All right, now we're gonna pull the nose cone back. And here is that brand new head sculpt. Bring it all the way back and down. All right, let's go ahead and attach his null rays to his shoulders. And they're symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which one goes where. All right, and you can do your posing and everything. And now you have two choices here. If you want to maintain his more classic look that's used in the cartoon and the original toy, you would just leave these leg wings just sticking straight out. The original toy didn't have, the articulation in the wings to do anything with them. However, officially, he's actually bent back, which is a lot more practical than having them splayed out to the side. So it's up to you. You can give him kind of a more streamlined look, or you can just flare him out and go for the classic look. Personally, I prefer this, but if you're a real purist, you might not like it. What's up, man? All right, so this guy shares all the same articulation with the regular Seeker mold. The head is still ball jointed, though it seems to be a little tighter than the regular one. One thing that I noticed is that the head's pretty small. I don't know, it doesn't seem proportional. It seems a little small for the body, and that's obviously because it needs to fit inside here. So, that's the trade-off. Again, there's really no way of winning here. And the primary reason for that is they're trying to replicate an impossible design. Something that was brought about in animation that doesn't translate well into reality. And, well, how could this be, right? Didn't it work for the original? Well, let me give you a quick history lesson. Now, I don't have the Generation 1 Ramjet, or Dirge for that matter, but I do have G1 Starscream, or at least the vintage reissue. Now, the original Conehead toys, while having, redone wings and all that, they actually still use the same exact head design as the original trio of Seekers. And they're even advertised as having the same head design on their toy packaging, right? So they just, their faces just look like this. However, to help separate them from the regular Seekers when it came to the comics and the cartoon, the people that came up with the character models, they just kind of had this ingenious idea. They kind of played with the design of the toy, realized you could just leave this nose cone sticking up like this, and behold, a cone head. And that's how the cone heads came to be. That's why they have that very distinct, goofy design. And you can do this with any of the G1 Seekers. Just depending on your preference. So, yeah, just a quick history lesson for anyone that wasn't aware that the cone heads weren't always cone heads. Here's a quick side-by-side with Classics Ramjet again, just so you can see how this design has evolved over the years, because, if you saw my reviews for the other Seekers, you know that the Earthrise design is basically an upscaling and update of the Classics design, for the most part. So, again, you can see these guys pretty much look the same, just color differentiations and much differently scaled heads. Now, I'll say I like the proportionality of the Classics head more than I do the new one, because, again, I think the new one's just a bit too small. So, it's kind of hard to win no matter what you do. I will say I do like the colors of the new Ramjet a lot more. I like the better contrast of the bright white and the very dark black, and then you got some red and gold on there. I always thought the Classics one just looked kind of washed out. Now, one thing you could do, if you really do miss like the big, thicker null rays, you could always borrow them from Classics. Let's go ahead and do that, see how that looks, huh? I'm curious. I haven't done this yet. Okay. Obviously the colors won't match, but, Oh, well, that looks pretty neat. I'm digging that. What do you guys think? Do you think it looks better, worse? These are obviously more proportional for this bigger version than the small guy. His were kind of comically large for his body. Okay, now we've got Dirge transformed to his robot mode as well. I didn't show the transformation, but it's essentially the same as Ramjet's. Just keep in mind spatial differences for the different wing shapes. And one thing I want to point out is that you can see his wings on his legs, they're sticking out a little bit. They can be pushed all the way back to be flush with his lower legs like Ramjet's, but the official position for him is going right about here. There's kind of a natural friction stopping point. And that's not only accurate to the new design, but actually very much accurate to the original Dirge toy too. His wings actually did slant backwards in robot mode. One thing I want to point out is that they actually have different molded faces. And speaking of the faces, can I just talk about how great they look? They are painted silver, bright red eyes, are awesome. But anyway, Ramjet, he has kind of just this stern, angry look on his face. And then Dirge is just screaming like a maniac. And I love it. He's just so mad. So I think it's great. I actually wouldn't mind if he had like a scared screaming face like the Skyward toy does, because Dirge is primarily known for dying horribly, especially in the comics. So, it would have been a cool touch, but I do like the face that he has anyway. As far as the colors, I think Dirge's colors are awesome. The blue and tan with black is just beautiful to me. Ramjet's cool, but I do think I like Dirge a little more. Now, I would show off Classics Dirge, but I don't have it. And the price for that toy in the secondary market is the thing of nightmares. So, unfortunately, can't do that comparison today. But yeah, these guys, they look amazing. Their painted details are, above and beyond what you expect nowadays. Hasbro tends to be a little stingy on the paint, but they really went whole hog with these guys. Tons of paint on like every part of their bodies. And I especially love this like powdery matte tan color on Dirge's wings. Just looks really cool. Also love his very colorful knees. Just really great. So yeah, I am happy to report that these guys don't seem to have any tolerance issues. No signs of mold degradation, which is good, right? These are uses 4 and 5 of this mold so far. So far so good. We'll see how Thrust is once he comes out. And if you're wondering, yes, Thrust does indeed have his own set of wings that are accurate to the original design, so good there. That's something I was worried about with the excessive mold reuse we've been getting, that these guys, they would just all be recolors of each other without, the admittedly heavy retooling required to make them accurate, but they did it, and I absolutely love Hasbro for it, because these guys came out phenomenally. Like, literally the only thing I don't like about the way they look is that I just wish their heads were a little bit bigger. That would make me happy. Now, of course, you know we need the mandatory robot group shot for our 5 current Seekers. And I mean, this is just great. If you're a huge G1 fan and you wanted something that was pretty darn cartoon accurate, I mean, these guys really hit the spot. A lot of people turn their noses up at the Tetrajet Seekers from Siege. I love those toys, but I get that they're not going to scratch everyone's itch, right? A lot of people are very loyal to the original cartoon and comics. So if that's what we've been holding out for, I mean, it is your time to shine, because here we are. The only thing we're missing is Thrust, but I mean, admittedly, I've seen pictures of Thrust through leaks, and he's just as good as these. So once he comes out, you're gonna have your whole posse, and you'll be able to act out all sorts of G1 episodes. So very, very cool. All right, and I think that pretty much covers everything. Already giving you a good idea of how I feel about these. I think this is a fantastic set. I'm very happy to report that there aren't any real QC issues at all, which is good because Amazon exclusives tend to have some QC issues. Nemesis Prime was especially bad. But yeah, I mean, these guys are great. Their joints are tight. They have all this new molding. Their paint is beautiful. I do not think I could be happier with these toys. So they're currently sold out, unfortunately, if you didn't kind of jump on that bandwagon and get them while they're in pre-order. I don't know if they're going to come back or if they're going to go the way of Siege Skywarp and just disappear from Amazon forever. The good news is if you did miss out on them, they are going to be available through Takara. Now, they are Takara Tomy Mall exclusives, but I'm sure a lot of your usual suspects are going to be offering them up through imports. You know, your Big Bad Toy Store, TF Source, Robot Kingdom, all that stuff. It'll be more pricey, but if you have the money, I think it's worth it. I think these guys are just phenomenal. They really help complete the Seekers. So really recommend picking them up if you haven't already. And if you have already, and you've gotten them or they're on the way in the mail, good on you. You're gonna be very happy. But of course, as always, that is how I feel. Now I want to know what you all think. Am I overhyping these? Am I just, do I have nostalgia blinders on? Am I not seeing the bigger picture? Or do you feel that my praise is justified? Do you think these guys are as good as I do? I can't wait to hear all your feedback in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the brand new Transformers Earthrise Ramjet and Dirge, the Seeker Elite. And with all that said, I will see you next time.